everyone, it's Jeremy from Trading Safely, just doing a closing update on gold today. Gold's really trying to establish some sort of short-term uptrend out of the broader near-term downtrend that it's been in. Just for anyone new, I might just quickly run through a couple of these indicators that we use just to clear up a few things. So first of all, we have our bullish and bearish pivots, so that these are these horizontal lines everywhere. Each color is a different time frame, so we have a bullish and bearish level for each time frame. There's the weekly bullish up there, so this week's is right there at 1239.4, and the weekly bearish is down at 1216.2. Now these pivots act as support and resistance, particularly where you get many of them together acting as a confluence. And what's important to note about these pivots is where we close in relation to each time frame. So where we have a weekly close above a weekly bullish pivot, then the market's typically wanting to go up, and where the reverse happens, then the market wants to go down. And that's what happens in each time frame. And if we look at this bottom study at the bottom here, that is tracking that relationship. So more broadly speaking, we can see at the very bottom we've got the annual orange line and the blue line, the semi-annual, both still negative, indicating the broader trend remains down. We've had this short-term pop-up in the brown and pink lines. That's the quarterly and monthly time frame. So at some stage in the recent history, like if we look at this brown line moving up here, that references this quarterly bullish close above the upper quarterly pivot. There's the lower bearish one right there. So we can see what's happening with time down the bottom here. This indicator in the middle tracks the rotation of time across every time frame, and when we hit this major high here, we flag that as a complete participation of time. And this study here is tracking the mean reversion across different time frames. So we've been oscillating around last year's midpoint over the last sort of month. So in the short term, look, the other thing to note about these charts is these little dashes here, they refer to the previous close. So the pink one is last month's close at 1241.4. So instantly we can see we have a big zone of resistance here at 1241.4, and you've got the weekly bullish at 1239.38. You've got this volume profile ledge at 1241. You've got this breakdown candle here, and the high that's 1242.7. Everything is saying gold is still under pressure while it remains under this 1242 area. And really, this move up here was just a weekly overextension down so far. Now, look, you can't say a market won't go down, and maybe it is going higher. I don't know, but what I can say is that we had this weekly bearish pivot here moved underneath this monthly bearish pivot, and that's why we got these white dots here. And you can just see from history what happens when those white dots come. Typically, you'll get a corrective rally. Now that happens at every time frame. So right now, these brown dots are the quarterly equivalent of these white dots. So where this brown quarterly pivot is above this orange bullish pivot, it's creating the potential for volatility at the quarterly time frame. And by virtue of the fact that we've got nowhere near this quarterly pivot so far, it's suggesting that the move is down. Because otherwise it would have been taking out these monthly bullish pivots and closing above and breaking out, but it's just not happening. So to me, the weight is still down. We do need to close much higher on a weekly basis to really turn gold around. In fact, we need to be closing above this recent high, or certainly above this 1280 zone to be bullish at the weekly level. So for me, I'm not convinced that this move up here is anything other than just a corrective rally at the weekly time frame. But that's one level of analysis that we do. Now, the second thing we like to do is, if I just pull those pivots off, I might just quickly remove those. Now, if I add our support and resistance levels in across different time frames, so once again, the colors are relative to the time frame. So green's daily, week's monthly, and so week is yellow is weekly, pink's monthly, brown's quarterly, and orange is annual. So when we look at from this perspective, we obviously put in a short-term closing low, so we moved inside this green line. And typically what will happen is when a market comes inside these levels, it wants to go seek out the equal and opposite time frame. and find the opposite level to test that out. Now, right now with gold, it's trying to build a weekly base. Now we won't know till the end of this week if it actually does that, because if we turn around now and close under, close under this high actually, that closing high there. So that close there is what is that? That's circa 1211.9. If we're back under that at the end of the week, gold's in all sorts of trouble. So it's trying to build a base here, but we've got this massive resistance zone in the short term. So as much as gold is trying to target this 1256 zone, it's got a raft of resistance in the middle. So for me, there's no point buying it. We haven't had any buy signals to date, which is also a warning. So these little black dots would be a daily buy signal. And these little green dots are just bullish warnings. They're not actual buy signals. These yellow dots are weekly sell signals, and these indicators here are based on time and the participation of time that we see down in this study here. So right now, I'm not convinced yet that we do have a major a major low in gold. Waiting to see what happens with this level in between. So I hope that helps.